Okay, hello. My name's Kwan
Mhm.
Ingao, and yours is
Julie Gonzalez.
Professor,
No, I'm a lecturer.
lecturer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, my research question is, how does income inequality like affect immigrants
Mhm.
that have like newly like arrived?
Mhm.
The reason why it shows that is because I'm an immigrant myself, first
Mhm.
generation.
Mhm.
Honestly, also first person to like go to college.
Okay.
So I'm just like wondering your takes on like how income inequality like affects newly arrived immigrants in general.
Um, well, one of the mechanisms we have for sort of mitigating income inequality would be the social safety net, and I think probably most immigrants don't qualify for some of those programs. So that could be a mechanism that keeps them, on the lower income scale. But I guess it would depend on the type of immigrant. Like if they're here on an H-1B visa, then they probably have like a
Mm.
tech job of some sort.
Yeah, tech
And so
job.
they're gonna be on the upper income scale. So I guess it would depend on the sort, what type of immigrant, like where they're coming from,
Yeah.
and, you know.
Also, like on like what political parties like in favor or like against like helping lower income like immigrants or other
Probably
people.
the Democratic Party is
Yeah.
in favor of helping
Yeah.
lower income immigrants for sure.
Actually, I got like I did some research and I found like from the California Journal of like policies and politics,
Mhm.
Democrats are like way more likely to try to like go for policies to like lessen the gap between like incomes
Mhm.
and compared to like Republicans and Independents.
Right. Well, they just tend to be more for like social safety net things,
Yeah, social safety
food
net, food
stamps
stamps,
and
stuff like that.
welfare, unemployment insurance, stuff like that.
Also,
Medical
yeah, medical too.
access, yeah.
Actually, according to like the National Library of like Medicine, it's like a government institution.
Mm-hmm.
The lower income you have, the like less access you have to like medicine in general,
Yeah.
despite the social safety nets.
Mm-hmm. That could be because people are more reluctant to go see a doctor, and there's probably longer wait times
Yeah,
for like clinics that are more serving of like lower income people.
Low income.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on that particular thing, so I don't know exactly.
Actually, like I want like kind of your take on like the rise of income inequality. Like the Public Institute of like California
Mm-hmm.
did like a survey and they found that like the top 90th percentile, like the top 10%
Mm-hmm.
of earners that make the most amount like money overall
Mm-hmm.
make like 11 times more than the average lower bottom 10%
Yeah,
in general.
I think the data on that show, like it was rising. I think I had a graph in one of our lectures, maybe, but the graph was rising until COVID, and COVID weirdly like equalized some things.
I feel like in history, like during like plagues or wars,
Mm-hmm.
like income inequality like lessons.
Yeah, I can't remember the impetus there though, because
Also during like revolutions, like the French Revolution.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That one didn't end so well.
Yeah, no. Well, I think that if you look at inequality in the U.S., it kind of peaked right before the Great Depression, also.
Yeah.
So when you concentrate too much wealth in the top, if you're doing something on income inequality, there's a great podcast where they interview a bunch of different economists on like, I think that it's called like the optimal level of inequality or something like that. It's on the Freakonomics Radio.
I also listened to like a podcast that's like the Lemonade Stand, and they talk about like how like the 50s and 60s were like kind of a unique time in history because
the
the
tax
low
rates were really high.
Also the low income and inequality despite like no general wars, plagues.
That's part of that is because, at least in the U.S., is that we had no competition internationally.
Yeah.
So it was post World War II.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
We're like the only like manufacturing at that time.
So like none of the current competitors that we had really were in our league, economically speaking.
Yeah.
So they weren't competing.
They had like no industry basically. It was all destroyed.
Right.
They all had to like rebuild.
Exactly.
Also, like according to Brookings, like income inequality, like they had like a different solution besides like taxes on the more wealthy members of society and social safety nets.
I think marginal tax rates were the highest in the 50s and
They were
60s.
the highest though.
Yeah.
They had like they talked about like technology. What was that approach again? We talked about in class how like focused more on like general technology for like rising GDP.
Yeah.
It
So
was
we have the best technology. I was looking for, there's a graph of income inequality in the U.S. in our book, but I don't think I have the book with us. It was in chapter, maybe one of those like growth chapters. There was a graph of
Growth
income inequality.
chapters. I'm just like checking to see if it was still like recorded.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think I have my book with me, but it was in either chapter 7 or chapter 8. There was a graph of income inequality.
Income inequality, yeah. So, according to like Brookings, they posited like a theory that if like the workforce like gained more skills, got more technical, like the income inequality will like decline.
AI could make it worse though too.
Yeah, AI too, because like when you think of AI, it's like, oh, they're gonna take like laborer jobs or like low income jobs
or even middle income jobs.
But they're like going up like higher income like coding.
Yeah.
That's like a really big problem.
Potentially, yes.
So like Brookings talks about like training like technical skills and how that'll be like helpful for firms in general because it'll like marginal product of labor, it'll increase it because when a workforce like gets more technical, it like produces more in general. So that would like raise the wages for the firm and the worker.
That sounds about right.
So I'm just like wondering like how accurate is that? Like
again, I mean, I'm sure it's a good prescription, except for I would be concerned about the impact of AI. Because it depends on what skills you're investing in, right?
So skills also plays
a part. Which skills, right? Because like, for example, coding has become, a lot of that is like replaced by AI, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
So you could end up investing in the wrong skill set, so I don't know that we know which types of jobs are going to be displaced and which ones aren't, you know?
So according to like Harvard Gazette, you know, like Harvard Gazette, it's like a social and economic institute from Harvard. It says like typically like white Americans tend to like earn 11 times. White American families tend to earn like 11 times more on average than like Latino families, which are like usually immigrant families.
Right.
So I'm just like wondering like, is that like a systemic issue, institutional, or like just like new arrivals?
Probably the source of the skill set they came in with, those immigrants, right? So it probably takes multiple generations to have them climb the socioeconomic ladder, right?
So essentially, immigrants tend to make less because of the skill sets they currently have. They lack.
But not all, I mean, right? So
H-1B.
Yeah, exactly.
So they also like tend to be less healthier because medicine is dependent on like how much income you make in America. The social safety nets are good, but they're not like as good.
Well, I don't know exactly how different immigrant groups qualify or don't qualify. That's one thing I don't really know about. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so I don't know like if you're
specifics.
I don't know if you qualify for certain types of government programs. Because I think, for example, Trump was trying to pass something in the bill is
like the big beautiful
only people
bill
with social security numbers can get a bunch of different things now. So that would mean any immigrant group essentially can't.
So essentially, like no
immigrants, probably.
No immigrants, yeah. Free anti-immigrant.
So it's eliminating the social safety net for any immigrant.
Probably. So that's probably gonna widen the
I would
gap.
think so, especially among immigrant
groups. Yeah. So according to like the Peterson Institute for International Economics, like 6 in 10 Americans think that income inequality is a huge issue. Most of those like interviewed are like from lower incomes in general that are like approve of it, which include also